You may think that running out of money is the biggest problem in retirement, but in fact, people end up with having double the amount of wealth than when they first retired. So I'm going to show you how you can maximize your income so you can enjoy your wealth while you still can and avoid running out of money. When we first meet with clients, they tend to say something along the lines of this: hey, we want to live our best life. Whatever that may mean to them. Could be travel, could be not travel, and not be a burden to the kids. What that really means is, how can we do all the things that we want to do and not be a burden to the kids later in life by running out of money? So to be able to spend more money in your retirement, you need to understand how retirement spending works. Now, most people tend to think that retirement spending looks like this, where you retire and all you needed is inflation-adjusted income all throughout your life. But in reality, retirement spending is much different. Retirement spending tends to look like this. You spend more in the beginning and less at the end. And the reason is, you're healthy as you're ever going to be, probably. You have money, and now you have a ton of time. And because you have the retirement trifecta, many people use this time to spend more money while they can. Spend more time with the kids. Do things on their bucket list items. Because later in life, you might not be as mobile or active. Therefore, you tend to spend less money later. If you plan on spending inflation-adjusted income throughout retirement, that would be the red line here. And you run the risk of underspending what your income needs are early in retirement. And on the other hand, you can overspend later in life, but you probably aren't going to want to because you're going to be older and probably less mobile. So if you know later in life you're going to actually be spending less money, that means you can spend more money earlier in retirement when you really need it. Now, if you simply follow inflation-adjusted income, you could be leaving a little bit of life on the table, and maybe you could retire earlier or spend more money or do more traveling. Maybe you could take those trips. Maybe you could spend more time with the kids or grandkids. Or maybe you're leaving some bucket list items in the bucket. We don't want you to do that. You can front load your income early in retirement and enjoy it while you can. So how do you front load your retirement income spending to match your needs? Well, that's the guardrail system. What many tools fail to do is to take into account asset increases that can give the retiree more pay raises early in retirement. That's why they end up with having, most of the time, a lot more money at the end of retirement than they did in the beginning. So if you want to live your best life and try to retire early and check off some of those bucket list items, what you need to do is have a guardrail system set up so that as your account values rise, you get more pay increases net of inflation. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is what the guardrail system is. We have this client, fictitious client, loaded up here, and he's got $3.1 million. And if their assets grow to $3.3 million, which is about a 7% increase, their pay increase goes from $16,283 to $17,433. Okay? Now, you got to take the flip side too. So if their assets drop from 3.1 million down to 2,197,000, which is a 30% drop, which is quite dramatic, they would need to have a pay decrease of about 5%, or $814 a month less. So $16,283 to $15,469. Now, a lot of times people have questions like, well, what would happen if the market went down or bad or whatever? And what we do is we run it through a stress test. Like, we go back to the global financial crisis. You remember that, right? 2007 to 2009. So in this particular example, the client, starting in November of 2007, they retired. No pay increase, no pay increase, no pay increase. And then you see the green line there, pay increase. They hit the upper guardrail. Another pay increase, got an upper guardrail. And then they got an inflation increase here and here. Okay. Now how it looks is this. You see the green here? This is the upper band of the upper guardrail, and the red is the lower band. And their account value kind of fluctuates in. And as long as we're above the lower guardrail and below the upper guardrail, no changes. And sometimes, if you're fortunate and you hit an upper guardrail, pay increase. Let's take a look at another challenging economic time, stagflation, which began in 1968. And in this example here, you see the inflation increases, which are the blue dotted lines, up and up and up. And then we hit a upper guardrail, which gave them a pay increase above inflation. Along and along and along. And there are some times when there is a pay decrease, a lower guardrail being hit. Like in this example here, you had $34,449 a month in income. And then you hit a lower guardrail, and then there is a $2,380 reduction. And then you got an inflation increase, another lower guardrail being hit. So as you can see how your income over time goes up and up and up and up. This is historically speaking, obviously. No guarantees here for all the compliance people watching. So when you do this, you should be able to maximize your income early in retirement. So one thing to keep in mind, though, is that life happens. Maybe you need a car. Maybe you're paying for a grandchildren's wedding or education. What you do is you take that expense, whether that be now or in the future, and you model that in as well. And that's what we do. We put that in the system, and it accounts for that as well. So when you do this, you're able to maximize your income early in retirement. But Jeremy, what if I need one-time expenses like a new car, a grandchild's education, or a special vacation? I want to go with my whole family. We've got a client of ours who they want to take a special trip to Africa with the whole family, first class, the whole thing. And yes, do it. That's part of the bucket list. Do that. And when you do that, we put that into the system and model that against stress test scenarios so that, hey, you're going to make sure you're not run out of money. So if you're okay with being a little flexible with your retirement spending, you should be able to implement the guardrail system, which should allow you to have more income early in retirement. And check off those bucket list items that you want to accomplish and avoid running out of money later in life. Now, a little thing about the bucket list. Don't wait, okay? I have seen people wait too long and don't have a chance of doing those things that they wanted to do. They kicked the bucket before they did the bucket, okay? And I've also seen clients do those trips. Take the trip to Africa, take the trip to Alaska, spend time with the kids and grandkids while they could. So don't wait. Now, if you want to know how to generate income in a tax-efficient way and 4 simple ways you can increase your Social Security, check out this next video.